Hi, I'd like to do a quick tutorial video, as much as I'm able to, about OBS and other ways in which you can record videos at home for your students. I think in anticipation of an odd and increasingly more odd fall semester, we may find ourselves where we need to be able to record videos of ourselves demonstrating things or giving lessons and things like that. So here's a couple of options that I found useful. I'm a Mac user. I believe everything that I'm going to discuss here is also going to be useful on a PC. However, and to make this video, I found that I couldn't use OBS to make the video because that would be hard to do because I have to show how to set it up and things. And so I'm actually using an alternative, which is just simply doing screen capture using QuickTime, which is something I can do on a Macintosh. And I imagine there's a Windows corollary. So if you can see my screen, I believe you can. QuickTime Player has basically a new screen recording option, which I can't choose now because obviously I'm making one at the moment. And you can choose what part of the screen to capture and all that great stuff. But it's just a quick and easy tool. You don't have a way to shift between scenes or parts of the screen or your front-facing camera or any of that stuff. It's just a very simple way to make a video of your desktop. It also might help to have a little cursor pointer for your mouse. This one I downloaded from the App Store. You can find them for free. There's just kind of a way to keep people in, I don't know if it's annoying or if it's useful. I think it's kind of useful. So I like to kind of use it when I can. So the website for the OBS Studio application is here. It's a free program. It's one of those things that was available before quarantine and COVID happened, but wasn't widely used. And now I believe it is one of the standards by which that my colleagues and I use it to make videos for classes, and it's really great. So you would download it with these tabs and install the software, follow the instructions, and this gives you some information about what it does. And what it simply does, and I'll go through this in a minute, is it allows you to create scenes almost like you have a little broadcasting studio on your computer. It allows you to toggle between scenes in your that you set up. You can toggle between audio sources and video sources. You can be so specific, or you can just use it to make a general video. So I'm just going to do a quick, simple setup, and then you can take it from there. There are also videos on how to do this on YouTube for specific things. So there's my OBS application here in my dock. I'm just going to click it and turn it on. And you can see that they give you a blank window. And I have some scenes set up here. So down here, this is the main view window. This is your audio mixer. This is your scenes and your sources. A lot of your buttons for basically starting and stopping recording are here. And I'll also be showing you some things in the preferences menu, which is where the hotkeys submenu is. That's actually really useful for toggling between scenes, or for if you want to create a hotkey for stopping and starting video. Sources, let's start with that. So if we go down to this plus or minus, we can hit the plus key and you get this extensive list of what's available as a source. That can be audio or video. And in this case, they separate audio from video. So we're gonna do, let's see, display capture is your desktop. Let's start with that. So display capture will give you a way to create a new one, and I'll just create a new one. I've created a few in the past, I guess redundantly, but I'm just say display capture X, and we'll hit OK, and it'll give you this like wild, sort of infinite mirror of display, and it'll ask you which display you want. And I only have one display, so obviously that's the one I'm going to choose. And if you have multiple displays, obviously you could probably select more than one there, and you hit OK. And the annoying part is that it makes it massive, so you have to kind of do this weird thing where you crop it down and then move it back up. There's a crop function in that previous drop-down menu, that dialog box, but I couldn't get it to work really well to my needs. So this is just what I'm doing to make it fit my movie. So you can think of this black screen behind you as your template, or your blank slate, and you're adding things to it. And so this now becomes the video capture of my desktop. And again, notice that it has basically a mirror of what I'm showing us on screen, right? I could get rid of this window, which is where I showed you about OBS download, and we'll get rid of that. And so now I've just got my desktop and my OBS software here. I'll make this a little bit bigger. And it adjusts, of course. So that's my display capture. And if I wanted to record my voice talking, I would add my microphone. And so you would go then to add audio input capture. And this is where you would find your audio input. If that's your onboard microphone, I'm just going to click OK, and you see this drop down for device. I have an audio interface, and this is the name of my interface. You can also use the microphone. And this is a program called Loopback that I'm using to route multiple audio into stuff and etc. So you could choose your input device here. And I'm just going to use the microphone that I'm using right now and hit OK. And so you can see the audio input capture 2 over down here. And you can also see, when you click on it, the highlight of that. So that's how you can simply get audio and video. If you wanted to get the front-facing camera for your computer, you can select also that portion. And so what I'm going to do is find the, not the display capture, but the video capture device here, down here. Video capture device, and I'll just make an example. Video capture device. I will hit OK. And it's going to ask me for a device. So I find my front-facing camera, and hello. You then hit OK. And it again gives you this default size. And you can drag this down if you want, make this smaller, make yourself sort of this like funny floating window over here on the side. You can also sort of right-click on it and get these other options where I want this to be, not paste, color remove, transform, order. There we go, order. That's where you move it to the top or move it to the bottom. Sometimes if it's added in a certain order, it becomes overlapped by the big screen. So for instance, if I wanted my face down here to be on top of everything, I would put order, move to top, which I think it already is. And so that's a way that you can record yourself in one portion of the screen, and then you have another display capture in the main part of the screen, and then you could show things like, oh, and when you make a video, you're basically showing both kinds of things happening at the same time. So once I get those things happening, I've got a scene. Those are my other previous scenes, which I could talk about. But basically, you're setting the sources that are a part of each scene. So I've made the scene. I've got these sources, and I could start recording and make a video, and then stop recording and stop making a video. And that will basically create a video in your recordings, where you go to show recordings, and it'll bring up your movies folder in your computer, and you can establish that folder in your preferences if you want to make that something else. So that basically automatically makes an MP4 on your computer when you hit record. So if I hit start recording and I do some stuff, I open up Google, I close Google, and then I hit stop recording. I can go over to my, say, show recordings, there's my new movie. I think this is here, and I can hit the space. It's like deja vu. There you go. So I found the movie, and it's in my folder, and that was not too difficult because OBS is pretty awesome. So that's the basics of this software. You can get further down rabbit holes of capturing only like browser windows. If you wanted to add display capture or window capture, you can capture any window on your computer in specific, and that opens up this dialog box, which is kind of insane. It has any application you have, any portion of your screen, the dock, the top menu bar, all this other stuff. And so if I wanted just the menu bar, I would select menu bar. That's a little silly, but you could get very specific with what program or what window you want to capture. If that is better, sometimes that's more work. So I'm going to delete window capture. Okay, so if I wanted to switch between scenes, if I wanted to get really fancy and toggle between scenes, meaning I can go from full screen, all me, to a scene where I have just a little window of the front-facing camera plus the main window out here, or another, well, these are duplicates of them, and I can toggle between these two things, like, hi, how you doing? I'm going to show you this thing, and then we go back over here. That's basically what the scenes do, and you can do that with your mouse, but it's easier to do with hotkeys. So those hotkeys are in the Preferences menu in the OBS drop-down menu. So if you go to Preferences, you could go looking through these for all kinds of settings, what kind of file output you want. Most of the time, the defaults are fine. You can even tell it where to save stuff. But the hotkeys are down here, and that is where you can basically establish any key on your keyboard to do whatever you want it to do, which is pretty cool. I selected these brackets for start and stop recording. So if I hit my left bracket, because I know that's a key that I won't type often, I hit the left bracket, and if I want to stop recording, hit the right bracket. If I want to switch to particular scenes, I can also use odd characters, not common ones, because sometimes in the course of making a video, this has happened to me multiple times, you'll use common characters as hotkeys, and then you'll accidentally and unknowingly type it in the discussion that you're using on your keyboard, and then all of a sudden you've switched scenes and you didn't know it. So uncommon characters are good, like equals or minus, depending on what you're teaching. And so you can select or toggle between certain scenes. And so you can see, like, I have a scene titled Me, and I have a scene titled Scene 2, Scene Blank, and Screen. And so I can toggle between those with hotkeys. And so that means I can select the equals key to the slash key to the minus key. And that way I'm doing things sort of without clicking around with the mouse. I'm just doing it with hotkeys, and it's a little bit more slick, I guess. You can change the transition type up here in the Scene Transitions menu. You can add, let's see what Stinger does. Okay, I'm actually not sure what this does. No, this is getting weird. I immediately regret adding that. I don't know what it does. So we're going to do fade. You can set a fade duration, or you can just simply cut. We'll try fade. So if you fade, it has a sort of a more graceful way to do it. If you want that fade to be longer, obviously you'll select more milliseconds. So this is a third of a second. So if I want that to be a full second, I would select 1,000 milliseconds between those fades. And whoa, that takes a whole second. That's interesting. So that's kind of the basics of this. Again, you can add any audio input device. You can add multiple video inputs. But if you're just simply trying to make a good recording of yourself, to distribute to your students while we're quarantined or whatever may happen this fall. This is a really useful program that I wanted you all to be aware of. In fact, all the videos I made for this online class are from here, from OBS. So if you have any questions, let me know, and I can try to answer them or point you in the direction of some helpful videos on YouTube that can help point the way to some solutions. Take care.